Today, we are going to discuss regarding structural inflation. In the previous classes, we have discussed inflation, the types of inflation, like your demand pull inflation, cost push inflation, and today we'll see what is this structural inflation and what actually leads to this structural inflation. Usually we understand inflation as a situation of rising prices. This rise in prices within the economy may be due to your demand pull or cost push. Here today we are going to talk about structural inflation, a situation where there is rising price due to structural deficiencies or drawbacks in the structural arrangements of the economy, especially among the developing countries. Now, among the various causes or difficulties faced by developing countries, one of the structural part which we are going to analyze today is your agricultural difficulties or bottlenecks, resource constraint or government budget constraint, then your foreign exchange bottlenecks. Now the existence of these bottlenecks or constraints or difficulties within the economy can lead to rise in prices, which we again call that situation as inflation. And together this rise in price caused by these difficulties or the constraints and bottlenecks is again termed as your structural inflation. Now let's go to this agricultural bottlenecks. Now, looking at the economies of developing countries. In developing countries, their agriculture sector being one of the most important sector for developing countries, their agriculture system, their rate of production, the output, or the technologies used in the agriculture sector is not sufficient or is not enough to meet the required demand. Due to these constraints or difficulties or this underdeveloped agriculture sector, the present demand, which is caused by fast urbanization, fast growth in population, with more number of people to consume, the agriculture sector could not meet the current requirement. So when current requirement is not being produced within the economy and growing population with higher demand, this in turn leads to a situation where there will be rising price. Now, not only with the population and urbanization, people's income also will keep on increasing. Now, when people's income is increasing with growing population, urbanization, and the technology being not able to produce or being not able to assist the production to grow at the rate at which the population is increasing, this will automatically give a situation of rising price. And this rising price, we call it inflation. This inflation is caused not by the direct factors, the structural factor being, the structural sector, the agricultural sector being underdeveloped becomes a hindrance. So it creates the situation of inflation or situation of rising prices. and club together in this structural inflation. Now let's go to the next point. We have here resource constraint or government budget constraint. Government budget constraint. Now, for a developing countries, in a developing country, there is a requirement of financing for economic development. Financing. Government has various plans to create development activities, to make development within the economy. Now, those economic activities will be carried out when there is a proportionate finance to invest. Now, from where these finances will come? We are discussing this with respect to developing and underdeveloped countries. Poor countries have the desire to be developed like other developed nations. Underdeveloped countries cannot stay as it is because our world is dynamic. So in the means, in the way to become developed, there is need for investment, and for investment there must be resources. Resources. Are the available resources utilized to the maximum level of bringing output, or is there proportionate sources of revenue? Now, when the revenue is not proportionate to the plan, investment won't work. So in order to carry out better investment, there must also be sources of revenues. Now, when we talk about the sources of revenues, what we see in underdeveloped or developing countries is that there is usually improper maintenance or administration in the collection of revenues or taxation system. One of the most important source of revenue for the government is taxation. Is the tax base appropriate? Or is the tax levied in such a manner that it could manage the required revenue? And also the corrupt or mismanagement, misadministration of the system also hinders the process of investment. Due to all these reasons, government will try to resort to deficit financing. The option available for the government to make investment, to create better industries, to create other infrastructures of the economy, government resort to deficit financing due to improper or inappropriate revenue. Now, the effect of this deficit financing by the government is going to pump more money within the economy, irrespective of the output, irrespective of the actual output which should be produced. Now, being more money in the economy, more money within the economy, more money in the hands of the public, there is a trend coming out of it to create more demand